up. First, I want to apologize if I come off as too sexual. Just generally. But specifically in this video, because I've been essentially informed lately that sexuality is off limits for men. There was a campaign that illustrated what the world would look like without men. On Facebook, there was a profile picture that was just pink. You were pinked out. And that was a world without men. It's been said lately that men are essentially too sexual. Period. And that if we could find a scientific way of devising a reproductive process for human beings that did not involve men whatsoever, that we'd be a lot better off. So I'd like to begin by apologizing for being sexual. I don't really plan on doing anything that's sexual. It's just I was told recently that I was definitely sexual, like heterosexual, by some ladies who happened to be watching me. I was waiting tables. I was serving 3 gay men, and there was 3 women, straight women, watching me serve the 3 gay men. And when I turned around to serve them, they said I was definitely heterosexual. And of course, I collapsed a little bit, just as I did when I was in elementary school and the principal came by and caned me. He said, I'm not sexual, I'm just hetero. I felt shame for being sexual as a man. And that's when I came up with this notion that maybe I would just pink out my Facebook profile and I would show the world what it was like if there were no males. Maybe I will be a little bit sexual, and I'll tell you I'll show you something. That's my chest. There's just a little bit of cleavage, and there's some hair there. Maybe you can't see it, I don't know. It hurts. Just, ow. Being caned for being sexual. I don't even think it's that sexual. Is it sexual? Can you see this pink? Can you see my profile picture, what it would be like without me? Young man, you will grow up to be the toxic masculine. Unless I cane you and control you and beat you. Young man, the world's full of toxic masculinity. I'm going to beat you, pink, and I rip it open. I will not be oppressed. There's supposed to be an S for Superman, or maybe an A for the scarlet letter of Hester Prynne. I try not to be a sexual male because just to be a sexual male is to already be toxic. Ow. To even say anything about being a man, ow, is toxic. I drew a map on my chest one day at the back of class when I was in elementary school before the principal came around and ow! And man, what are you drawing on your chest? And I felt so much shame. I was drawing a map on my chest with chalk. I was stupid. I was just a little kid. And I thought that I could draw a map. X marks the spot for my heart. You know, even though I was just a wee boy, I knew the heart was in the center of the chest, not in the left-hand center, the left-hand part. And the principal came by, and he got a stick, and he just held it there, ready to cane me. And as I drew the X marks the spot, the principal looked at his cane, his stick, he smiled a little. You. A lash on the back. to ensure that I would not grow up as the toxic masculine, to make sure that I would not grow up as a sexual being. I would keep my cock under wraps at all times. That I would essentially circumcise my spirit for the sake of femininity and pink out my profile picture. My pink chest. I'm so pink. Some people call me white, but I just tell them I'm pink. Because I want to show the world what it would be like without males. Ow. Today, class, your teacher is absent, so I am substituting for her. So many strapping young lads. Gentlemen, it is my duty as your principal to make sure that you do not grow up to be toxically masculine. My duty is to make sure that you keep your penis in your pants at all times. Because the moment that you take your penis out of your pants, you become toxic masculinity. Now, you don't understand what I mean by this. You're only 8, 9 years old. But since your teacher is not present here today, I will teach you what it's like to be a man, even though you can't understand. You are to loathe your penis. You are to keep your penis to yourself. You're not to be sexual. Because many years from now, you will be told that if you even have a sexual thought, you are objectifying women. If you have a sexual thought, you are objectifying yourself as an objectifier of women. You will essentially be put in a cage for the benefit of women. And you will pink out your profile picture to show women what it's like, where there is a world without men. And all this will be patently absurd to you. You do not understand what I mean now. How can an 8-year-old understand what I mean? I'm here to cane you. I'm here to discipline you, so that you do not become sexual beings. Because when the man becomes a sexual being, the man becomes a predator. And so we are going to stop reproduction altogether, because a man cannot handle the facticity of his penis. You will pink out your profile picture so the world will understand what it is like for there to be no more cock. No more cock. But unfortunately, God has just told me that without cock, ow! I'm sorry. Please, let's resume the lesson. What were we learning? What was your teacher teaching you yesterday? Have you studied arithmetic? Have you studied arithmetic? I'm honored to be up here teaching you arithmetic. But years from now, arithmetic will be relatively useless. Can you feel it? Can you feel what it's like to be so circumscribed? Can you feel what it's like to be thus circumcised? And not be in touch with your cock, because your cock is evil. You are 8 years old. You know what I mean. You will soon become evil. In the next 20 years, you will understand the banality of evil as you walk along the street, and you will feel that other people are afraid of you, and you won't know how to respond to their fear of your cock. Because of today's lesson in arithmetic, which will be utterly useless and without relevance for you 20 years from now, when everyone is afraid of you because you are toxic and you are masculine. You won't know how to respond to the world thinking these thoughts of you because you haven't been equipped to deal. Because I caned you when you were 8 years old for what you felt. Because of this, this was a problem for you, and I beat it out of you for your own good. Because I did not want you to become sexual. Men are not to be sexual. The moment a man is sexual, the entire world is in danger. And we don't want that. We want everything to add up. 1 + 1 is 2. I'm doing my best. How about you? That was all I can remember from my time in elementary school, of course. I made a lot of that up. I don't know if he really said those words like that. I just know that I had a principal one day. He came into the class and started talking. And he said a lot of weird stuff like that. And I'm trying to recall it 20 years later, but it had to do with just being demonized, really, for having a cock. So I set about finding ways to remove my cock, so surgically, in a way that would not hurt. But I realized that pretty much all the violence in the world comes from the cock itself. And so it's probably better that I don't have one, so I can eliminate the possibility of doing any kind of violence to anyone. I kind of feel like that principal was a little bit of a psycho, or a little bit of a clairvoyant, to be honest, because everything he talked about those decades ago has come true. Unless I want a crusade to basically evangelize and get every man on the planet to remove their cock. I don't know that anybody's going to remove their cock for the sake of my mission, but if you could have heard what that principal said to me on that day, and I will be honest that, you know, when you're 8, you're reading energy, really. That guy had a really fucked up energy. I remember looking at it. He would beat us. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of him beating us, he would just go like this. And like this. And like this. Like he was being beaten. And then he'd start turning around. I start talking to God directly, as if everything he was saying was inspired by the divine. I don't know about the divine, but he was trying to save me. He saw into the future. He saw that just being a man would be a problem. Of course, he also saw that being a woman would be a problem as well. I think he saw this. Do you know what that is? I think he saw that. I remember he came up to me with this. He was really obsessed. I must say, he was really obsessed with me. He wanted to calm my nerves because he saw that I was really agitated by him. And wouldn't you be? He came to me. He was trying to protect me from me. And he came up to me. And he put his fingers around my head. And he conducted a seance with my neurons. He was trying to get me to see the future without men, without cock. The world was just be full of pussy. There would be no men anywhere. And the women were miserable. That blew my mind. And he came to me. You see how fucked up that is? He went into my mind, conducted a seance, showed me the future, and then came to me. That's psycho. It's fucking psycho. You earn the trust of a human being, and then you turn around in that second and you smash. And he's 8. You could traumatize an 8-year-old for the rest of his life, and you can tell. I don't let anybody get close to me anymore because I feel like they're just going to turn the switch on me, traumatize me by engendering my trust one moment and flipping that switch the next moment. He was trying to protect my heart by beating me with a cane. That is why on my chest. I'm sorry it's sexual to show you this, but I drew a map in chalk on my chest. I was 8 years old, and I thought maybe I would be able to remind myself in the future. I was 8. Okay, that's the deeper self doing a chalk, but it's stupid because chalk washes off. But I remember the chalk, the X, like the scarlet letter A of Hester Prynne. X marked my heart, but also I think it was the skeleton key for finding my cock. Because at some point, even though I advocated for the global circumcision and really the global castration of all males, my cock saved me in the middle of the night like a bad dream. I was having so much conflicted thoughts about cutting my cock off for the sake of humanity. I was like, what a masculine thing to do to end my masculinity. To amputate my member. I had incarnated the principle from the principle. And his cane was his cock. That's almost pedophilic. He's a nasty man. But he wanted to save me. You know that tendency to want to save another human being. Oh, it's virulent. It's like you're on Facebook and all these messages show up in Messenger about someone who's trying to save you. This person has politicized every single word that's come out of your mouth and now needs to give you the political elixir to solve your aberrant ways. You gotta cut those fuckers out because they just beat you with their canes. That's what happens to me some days. I'm on Facebook. I get all these messages from people trying to save me. And I'm like, pushing them off to the side. I'm like, I've got to save humanity myself. So stop. Stop trying to save me when I'm trying to save everybody else. The cock is the problem. Sexuality. Men. Cut your penis off. All of you. And leave me alone. And I get confused because I was abused as an 8-year-old by a principal. One day in class, my teacher's gone. We're not learning arithmetic. And he holds us in his spell. I've never been so hypnotized by another human being. I'm 8. He holds me in the tractor beam and sucks me into the Death Star of his mind. I'm helpless, as you would be. And that's when I first learned. I don't understand it, of course, like I said, but intuition is still operative in an 8-year-old. And you know it's in that astral moment of the third eye when his soul visage, the visage of his soul is facing the visage of my own. And of course he's just so much more powerful than mine. I don't know, he's in his 40s, I don't know how old he is. And I'm just a little wee boy. And the visage of his soul is staring at the visage of my soul. You are a problem. You will always be a problem. You are my problem and I have to solve you. You bring shame to the world. Little boy. You have no idea how much trouble you will be when you grow up. No one will trust you. Everyone will be afraid of you. So I beat you now so you can just be closed and not cause anybody any problems. Because you don't want to cause anybody any problems, do you, boy? Because you know that thing between your legs is just gonna cause everybody a bunch of problems. You. Most of all. And reaches down and grabs me. The fucking pederast. I mean, the lady called out sick. My life has been changed. I don't know about the other kids in that class. Maybe they forgot all about it, but I remember because it was burned into my chest that day after he talked to me. You know how people cut themselves, right? They cut themselves and they're in that state where they're traumatized and all they can do is cut. Well, that's what it reminds me of. I had to bury my cock that day. And for the next 20 years, I'd hate it. Pinking out my profile picture. Trying to convince everybody, but you know, is listening to me. You know those bullhorns? I went to Union Square and it's so loud. So loud. The din. I can't even hear myself. And I'm there with my bullhorn and I'm telling all the men to cut their cocks off. All of the men. No one is listening to me, and I have a little box there and some people are giving me quarters, which pays for the subway ride, which is pretty cool. At least I did not lose $5.50 for that effort. It's not even like the Hare Krishna people who do in Kartan, Kartan. Well, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's not like them, because they're happy. And people are like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare. But no one is doing that when I'm telling them to cut the cocks off. First of all, they don't see it. They haven't read enough posts on Facebook. They haven't been keeping up with the news. They're not the same people that I am. So what I would want to do is basically convert them. And maybe I should start beating them too. So beating them until they see. Very hard. It's very, very, very hard to maintain a perspective that is against nature, that violates nature. Because I want my cock. And there's somewhere inside where I know that I'm a good person, but it's hard because when you're told this shit by an 8-year-old, when you are 8 years old, and you're beaten. You hide the message deep inside yourself and you look at the chalkboard and all you can see is the hieroglyphs of an alien race. It becomes clear to you that you were never learning arithmetic. In that golden moment, the principal enters. And you realize the woman who taught you the day before and the year before was just an alien, writing hieroglyphics on the board. None of it mattered. That's a hieroglyph. All this talking. Where is the cane? Oh, it's You know where the cane is? Just as I do. You know where it is. Those are like the Chinese pictograms on the chalkboard, those Egyptian hieroglyphs, I don't know. Alien script from tens of thousands of years ago. Getting in my mind. And each slash, each slash is a cane. Chopping me up with these alien perspectives that divide me against myself, against my nature, violate my common sense. X marks the spot of my cock. Can't cut it off for the sake of humanity, but when I look at those hieroglyphs, I see the illusion. thought those were simple numbers. She was just writing simple numbers. But not today. No, the principal has shown me otherwise. Looking in his eyes and the soul's visage, and when I'm done, I just look at the board and it's not. 1 + 1 = 2. I see what he's trying to do, and I saw the cane of the slashes, whoosh, whoosh, of the hieroglyphs, whoosh, and the ideograms, whoosh, and the pictograms, whoosh, were beating him. He internalized it, thought it was God. It was the language of his own alien nation, trying to save me, evangelizing, hoping that one day I would take the streets with my bullhorn and convince every man to cut off his cock. Oh my. Why would you pit women against men and men against women and men against men and women against women? Why? Because I see it so clearly on the board now, I can read you. It's like I have the Rosetta Stone. In the upper left corner, men against women. And then just to the right, men against men. And just to the right of that, women against women. And just to the right against that, women against men. Oh my God. Who was that teacher? You know, it's hard to know who to trust. When you've been so abused, you don't even trust yourself. You think maybe that you can evacuate the premises by listening to all the sounds within. Fortunately, those hieroglyphics that have been internalized, the indecipherable pictograms that are now stenciled across the heart. You can listen. It hurts. All these pseudo-identities chiseled into the interior of your feeling. A simple feeling. If you've been so abused by principles, and you can listen to the slashes on your heart, you can. They come from behind the heart, to the side of the heart, above the heart, below the heart, from inside of it too. They're popularly called contractions. It's like, when a man is against himself, he wants to cut off his cock. Thankfully, the heart is quiet enough, we know not to do such a thing. It's so painful when you're abused as a boy in a schoolroom by an authority figure who wants only the best thing for you, but is himself abused by the alienation behind him, saturating him, soaking into him with this foreign language That is like a puppeteering of his own mind, and that's when he comes up to me and wants to puppeteer mine. And that's when I see it. Or in the wind tunnel. There's the aerodynamism of whatever he wants me to believe coming into my mind. Oh. It's when I understand that I'll always just be a problem. That some people are just addicted to problematizing. Everything in that man just problematized an entire classroom of 8-year-old boys. Because his identity was problematized, and maybe, that's why he became a principal, and maybe that's why that woman was not there that day. Maybe it was just time to problematize without any resolution, just like me with my bullhorn in lower Manhattan, trying to get the world to cut off their clocks. Not just the men, the women too. I wanted everybody to be cockless. Because the problem, I was trying to solve it. The problem, you know, it's the problem of my God. So, in order to solve the problem that I inherited as an 8-year-old boy in a classroom, I became a principal. I became a principal. I became a principal. I put my principles right here. I put them all right here. There are my principles.